So Randy, there's a lot of advice, a lot of financial advice that goes on. How does a customer, a client, tell the difference between good advice and bad advice?
Well, I think the thing that Linden Thomas does differently is one of our key values is education. And frankly, it's a very hard thing to distinguish between good advice and bad advice. I have the same problem in the medical field and the law field. But I think there's big hints about what good advice and bad advice looks like. The first thing I would say is that you follow what the best institutions in the country say, like Yale, Harvard, Stanford, Chicago School of Business. If you look deeply into what Linden Thomas does, we're very serious about following what the best academic studies in the country say. And I think that because Wall Street is so big, those lobbies are big, and a lot of times the consumer doesn't really know what's good. The second thing I would say is that you follow the biggest money pools in the country. And Steve talks a lot about how we look at mutual funds differently. And a question an investor ought to ask themselves is, why is it, for instance, that the Harvard Endowment Fund doesn't have any mutual funds in it? Mm-hmm. These are big pools of very smart people that have lots of analysts and lots of research. And what that research says, along with the best academic institutions, are probably 3 or 4 things. Control matters. Costs matter, transparency matters, and you need a good group of people around you that has the brains to look at these things and spend the time and follow them. The last thing I would say is a big thing that's going on in the investment business right now is, unlike my grandfather, they would work 50 or 60 years, retire, and die 3 or 4 years later. I have a father that's 94 years old. He's actually going to be on retirement longer than he actually worked. So the difference in a few percentage points because of costs and taxation changes the trajectory of a portfolio, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some case, millions of dollars. So getting good advice is really, really important.
When we start out with a client, we want to set the goal, we want to understand the goal, but we also, on the flip side of that, we want to make sure that the portfolio construction is focused on trying to meet that goal.